Hello, welcome to today's video. A few weeks ago, I shared a video all about my favorite parenting books, and so today I thought it'd be fun to do the opposite and share some of my favorite books for babies and toddlers, except there's like way more. If this is your first time here, I'm Amber. I make kind of crunchy motherhood and lifestyle videos. If you like that sort of content, please hit that little subscribe button down below. I'd love to see you around here more often. I love to read, and that love is something that I really want to pass on to my son. He's 1.5 now, and it's already been so cool to see his relationship with reading change and evolve because he's gone from a newborn who could not stay awake long enough to get through a book to a baby who was kind of interested in looking at the pictures to a 1-year-old who wanted to flip through the pictures so quickly that I couldn't read fast enough to now a toddler who really enjoys a good story and will pick up his books and bring them to me all day to read to him. I've separated the books into categories just to make this make a little bit more sense, and that way if you're like looking for something specific, you can just skip right to that, so I'll put in chapters down below as well. First, we have books for little babies. It is never too soon to start reading to your kids, even if they're a newborn who can't stay awake long enough to get through an entire book. You don't necessarily need a ton of books for your little ones at this point if you don't want to spend that money just yet. You definitely can, but I think that these 3 books that I'm going to share are perfect for this age. So the first one is a high contrast book like this one. It's not actually really a story, it just has like penguin, ladybug, and then it has some, sensory things in here like the little flaps, or like there's a little squeaker, just things like that. So they can touch it, they can feel it, they can look at it, but you also could still do a little bit of reading. And there's a reason that these in particular are good. I actually looked it up because I can't remember since it's been a while. Babies' retinas can only detect large contrast between black and white at birth. High contrast images help babies focus and track images more easily, which stimulates their vision and helps develop their eye muscles and visual pathways. The strong signals sent to a baby's brain from high contrast images can lead to more brain growth and faster visual development. Definitely a fun thing to have. We just had this one, and then we had one other one that was kind of like something you could prop up like this on the floor. The second book is called Peekahoo. This one was a gift, and you can see it's well loved. Similar to the high contrast book, it just has really bright, simple images, and there's not like a ton of language. It's just like peek-a-moo or whatever. Like, it's perfect for an infant or a newborn that isn't gonna be able to pay attention for all that long. Kai loved this book for a long time, and that's why I'm recommending it, because it's simple, easy to get through. It's got the images that they're gonna be super interested in, and you can get through it in like 2 minutes. The last one in this category is called Good Night Little Fish. Very, very similar, bright, simple images, and the thing I love about this one is that it's a perfect nap time or nighttime book, and like all the other ones, it's short and it's not going to take you that long to get through, so they are more likely to be able to kind of pay attention. You could read any of the books I mentioned in this video to your newborn or infant, but even if you just have these 3, you're still stimulating brain development, teaching them about speech and language, and nurturing a love for books and literature. The second category is actually the smallest, and that is sensory books. Kai is not as into these as I would have thought he would have been, but maybe he'll get more into them as he gets older. The ones that we like the most are these Never Touch a Whatever books. So this one is Never Touch a Shark, but they have a ton more. We have 3 of them, and they all just have like really, really fun textures in them to like touch and scratch. I think I have more fun with these than Kai does. The reason I love them so much is because I feel like they actually give you a really good variety of different textures on each page. We have another sensory book, it's this one, and I've just noticed that most of them are kind of the same. It's like this shiny, it doesn't really have a texture. It's kind of just, I don't know, it's just kind of boring. So that is why those ones are really great. Next is learning books. So first is a classic. It's Brown Bear, What Do You See? This one I love. It's pretty short and simple, and this one is all about colors. So it's like, white dog, what do you see? I see a black sheep looking at me. And I love Eric Carle. We have another one of his books. It's called Pancakes, Pancakes, and the illustrations are just great. Kai loves these. The next book in this category is called Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. Kai was obsessed with this book for like a month. It's all about the letters, and the letters are all like running up a coconut tree, and it's got like a cute little rhyme in it. So when I tell you we read this for every single nap and every single bedtime for an entire month, I am not exaggerating. Next is a baby sign book. I was pretty against teaching him sign language initially because I felt like by teaching him sign language, I was going to be delaying him actually speaking. Like, he wouldn't feel motivated to talk because he's learning how to sign, which I've looked it up since then, and there is definitely no science to prove that that's true, so I don't think it is. A reason that you probably will want to teach your child sign language sooner rather than later is because what I've experienced, and I think this is true for a lot of toddlers especially, is that when they're getting to a point where they're starting to have their own like opinions and thoughts and wants and needs, but they can't actually express it to you, they might get really, really frustrated. And so Kai was kind of having these like, not tantrums, but they were kind of tantrum-like because he couldn't tell me what he wanted or didn't want or whatever, and he had no way of communicating that to me, which when you think about it, that would be pretty frustrating. And that is what finally got me to want to teach him sign language. So I looked at a bunch of different baby sign books. This one was my absolute favorite because it has like not a story, but it has little scenarios on each page that you can like read to your baby. It has a little depiction of what you're supposed to do, as well as a little bit of language that actually explains the sign. So I thought this one was perfect because it's great for the parents to actually understand how to teach your child certain signs, but then it also has this little kind of story-like thing in it so you can actually read it to your baby and demonstrate the signs. This is a really, really fun book. Kai just got this for Christmas. We should have gotten it way earlier. It's adorable. This is the Barnyard Bath book. So it is vinyl. It can go in the bath. It comes with a little washcloth like this. And then it basically is just walking you through like scrubbing all the different animals on the pages. And then at the end, it says, now wash you. This is perfect for bath time, perfect for teaching them about like washing themselves. And Kai absolutely understands like how to wash the different animals. He doesn't really get like washing himself, but he will. Last in this category is a set of 10 actually. It's called My First Bilingual Library. Alex actually got this for Kai, and I know a lot of people want their children to know some Spanish. I know we definitely do. Alex is fully fluent and I speak zero Spanish at all. They're really simple. They're just those books that's like dog, cat, cow, whatever. The thing I love about these is that they have a little pronunciation guide in the back, which is perfect for those of us who speak no Spanish at all, because you actually can see how to pronounce each word correctly, and you can kind of like learn with your kids. Something I really love about reading is that, similar to certain TV shows and movies, it's a great way to start working little life lessons into your child's brain. So this category is all about books that have a message. The first one is called Happy Hippo, Angry Duck. I actually found this at a thrift store. I didn't know it existed. I just happened upon it and flipped through it. This is the cutest book about moods and emotions that I have ever found. We've got one other one. It's cute, but it is nothing like this one. I am telling you, you need this book for your child, especially because when kids are like just learning to communicate, there are so many big feelings and emotions that are like super overwhelming. So I think it's important to give your toddlers as many tools to express what they're feeling or what they're experiencing as possible. The second book is called I Like Myself. This one is actually thrifted as well. A lot of these are thrifted. You should definitely check the thrift store for books. A lot of them will be in really, really good condition. This one I think is maybe a little bit more geared towards girls, but I think it's good for boys and girls because it's important for everyone to learn about liking yourself and accepting yourself for who you are. And that's exactly what this book talks about. Liking yourself even when you're having a day that you might like look a little bit messy, or liking yourself even if someone else is saying things about you, and how that doesn't determine who you are on the inside. So this is a really good book to have. The camera battery died, but we're back, moving on. The next book is called Oh, the Places You'll Go. This is a Dr. Seuss book, so you might actually remember this from your own childhood, and it's basically just like a kid's version of how life works. So it talks about how you're gonna have moments in life where you're just like at the top and you're flying high and everything is just like going your way, and then you end up in a slump and you have to like unslump yourself, and that's not easily done, but you're gonna like work your way back up there, and it is just really, really cute. The next book is The Lorax. We do have that book, I just don't have it with me right now because it's put away, because I rotate some of Kai's books out just like I do with his toys, but I love The Lorax. That was a book that my dad read to me a lot as a kid, and I remember it so vividly. Like, he would do the voice of the Lorax, like, I speak for the trees. And so this is one of the reasons why I think reading to your kids is so important, and like getting into it with them, because they will probably remember if you do it a lot. And The Lorax is a great book. It has a great message about like taking care of the planet and the earth, but I think that the overall message could apply to a lot of different things. The ending thought that they leave you with is, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to change. It's not. I have remembered that line for most of my life because we read it so much as a kid. And that is a big reason why I think reading to your kids is important, because they might remember not all of these messages and lessons, but there might be a select few that they take with them well into their adulthood. So anyway, the last one in this category we just recently got. I think it's missing the cover, but it's called What Do You Do with a Chance? And it's basically all about not being afraid to take chances. I actually haven't read this one yet. Alex has. I've just kind of flipped through it, but it's about like a little kid, and he has like a chance and he doesn't take it, and chances like don't come around as often because he wasn't taking them, and then he finally like gets over the fear and finds some bravery and courage and like starts taking the chances. And it's a really adorable book. The last category I have for you is classic and vintage books. I love these because they are just so nostalgic. I know that these are books that have been around for a while, and so some of these I love to have because it's just so cool to know that like my parents probably read these when they were kids, and then they read them to me, and now I'm reading them to my kids, you know? So the first one is Good Night Moon. Everyone needs this book. This is a great book, and this is a really great nighttime book because it has like very muted colors. So I think that this is perfect for like toning things down a little bit, winding down as they're getting ready to go to bed. And on top of that, they are literally talking about going to bed. Next is Guess How Much I Love You. I love books that talk about how much parents love their kids. So we've got quite a few books that are like this, but because this is a classic, I just absolutely love it. Next is Corduroy. I remember having this book. It's just like a little bear who wants to have a home. He wants to have like an owner, and this little girl finds him, and even though he's like missing a button, she's gonna take him home and fix him up. So Corduroy. The last one I actually just found at the thrift store, and that is The Little Engine That Could. And this one is remastered, so it's not the original. I think this book has actually been redone like 2 or 3 times, but again, a classic. It's so cute. It's the whole like, I think I can, I think I can. I'm sure that sounds familiar to you. So that is all we actually have for classic books, except for Dr. Seuss. We have a lot of Dr. Seuss books, and those are classics too. But every time we go to the thrift store, I'm looking for these types of like vintage classic books because I really want to get like some vintage Winnie the Pooh books or like Peter Rabbit, books like that. So I'm always keeping an eye out, and Remastered is great, but like if I can find the actual like vintage books, I think that is just so cool. So that is another good option. If you don't want to like buy off of Amazon, just go to the thrift store and look for these types of books. Those are all the books I have for you. We actually have like quite a bit more than just this, but these are the ones that I feel like are really, really special. Books are probably one of the only things that I really think you cannot have enough of. And I use a Kindle for myself to try to just create a little bit less waste, but for kids, I think it's so good for them to actually have the physical book. And that's why we mostly try to shop secondhand for his books. So still trying to create less waste, but I think it's so good for them to be able to like flip through the pages, feel the different textures if it's a sensory book, and to look at the bright, colorful pictures. And honestly, like Kai is probably going to end up with a ton of books. Like he's gonna need a bigger bookshelf than what he has now for sure. I hope that you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!